CMMS Radio talks about all things CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, focused on maintenance management. It's the people, the process, and the culture that make your CMMS journey a success.
Oh, good morning and welcome to Streamline 2025. I am not Greg Christensen. I am George Williams, hijacking the CMMS Radio podcast, and with me is a special guest today, none other than Anjelica Williams of ReliabilityX. Anjelica, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Pull in a little.
Pull in a little. How close do I have to be?
No, you're good. So, you're at Streamline 2025. How's the event been so far?
It's been really good.
Yeah.
It has.
Can you do a little intro? Who are you? Who do you work for? What do you do? Tell everybody all about the amazing AJ.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm Anjelica Williams. I work for ReliabilityX, and I consider myself the jack of all trades, master of none. I do all the social media, content editing, all that fancy stuff.
Wow, that's pretty impressive stuff. Like, it's pretty important to ReliabilityX.
Well, I'd hope so.
I've been, occasionally I see them on LinkedIn, and the stuff you put out is just amazing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I have people that provide good content that I can work with.
So at this particular event, how's the traffic been at the booth? How's the interaction and networking been? What's your experience been?
Compared to the first 2 years, it's definitely grown. Definitely a lot more attendees. I think it was a much more, it was a better experience this year. I know the first 2 years was like a learning curve, for people who put it together, obviously, but no, this year was really well.
Excellent, outstanding. And for let's say today we've got a workshop, right? Well, I'm doing a workshop today, and yesterday there were some sessions. Did you sit in on any? What did you like?
So I didn't get to sit in any sessions. Well, I did actually, your session. I sat in for about half of it. I was taking the pictures in the background.
So technically your favorite session.
What was your session?
Wow, it was also the worst.
All right, I wouldn't say that.
Well, if you only went to one, it had to be the best then the worst, right?
Other than that, I was maining down the booth.
Nice. You and Dan, right, hanging out and talking to potential clients.
Yeah, Dan's been great.
Yeah, Dan's been pretty good.
I got to learn a lot about Dan this week.
Oh, yeah, sorry to hear that. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he's a good guy.
Yeah. I like that.
No, he's
a
a perfect fit for our team.
Yeah, he's good cultural fit for our team for sure, and an excellent salesperson. So that's good. Okay, so walk me through like your typical week. What does it take to promote a company and to be brand recognized and to market a company as amazing as ReliabilityX?
My typical week, I usually start like my Mondays. I sit down and I think, what is my goal? What do I want to reach at the end of the week? So I typically start out, first I'll go on social media. Typically each morning in general, I spend an hour going over LinkedIn, just looking at posts, seeing what other people are doing. Then I have my own internal thought process, like schedule behind our posts. So like typically I like to look at what videos I'm going to be releasing, what blogs, what website work I have to do. And then typically with that, I usually start out with the video editing. I try to edit the content. After I do the editing, I then wind up, going using our Zoho, and then I wind up scheduling out posts. I then typically have to create additional graphics for then said stuff that I edit. Then I have to build out like the writing content for the posts. It's a lot of little things. I'm a little bit scatterbrained with it because like I usually dabble in one thing and then I'm like, oh, I have to go do this though. I can't do that before I do this. So.
And then in the mix of all of that,
yeah,
I'm hitting you up for a graphic for this, or can you fix this? Can you give me a cover page? Hey, I need that, right?
I love graphic design. That was one thing I always wanted to do when I was younger. I said I want to just do graphic design, so I get to do it. So I can't complain. It's fun for me. I don't view it so much as work all the time because I get to sit and design.
Plus, you don't get paid, so it's hard to see it as work. No,
I run out of creativity at times, though. Sometimes I experience creative burnout when I can't, like if I'm designing way too many things at once or if there's a lot of stuff coming out, there's many times where I scrap work that I do because I'll look at it and I'm like, all right, I don't like it. So then I spend a lot of time redoing things because I just feel like when I get to that point where I'm at a creative burnout, I'm just not satisfied with what I put out, and then I don't want to put that out for the company. So
I think that happens to all of us to some capacity, right? So it might not necessarily be in the creative nature of what's a blog post going to look like or what graphic am I going to use. But I think we all get kind of blocked in terms of what's the next thing for me to do, or if I'm in the middle of something, not really seeing what the end result looks like. How do you get through some of that?
That's a good question. To the end result, honestly, I don't really think I have a process. I think it's different for each.
I just hit the bar. You drink a little and
Sometimes I have to step away from the computer. I feel like sometimes I feel like staring at the computer does more harm than good, so I have to step away or work on something that's not, graphic related or content related. I need to do something that's on my list that maybe doesn't revolve around that, because when I'm doing that, then sometimes the thought sparks will fly.
I think a lot of people will resonate with that if they step aside from what they're currently in the weeds of, that they end up being able to step back and the creative juices go, and they're not even trying, but then a light bulb goes off, right? And
there's many times where I'll be in bed, like right before bed, I'm like, all right, I have an idea, and then I got to go on my phone and write it down before I forget it, so.
Excellent. Okay, so I know come March, we're releasing a whole different structure in how we promote or pick topics for a schedule of, without giving away too much, I want you to talk about it. What does that look like? How are we going to change our approach to social media soon?
Well, in November, we've released the Ramesh Gulati's Maintenance and Reliability Best Practices Framework, so really my focus for this year, aside, the first 2-3 years I've worked here, I focused on brand awareness. I think we've done enough of the brand awareness where we're releasing now more content related to the framework. So my goal for this year is to focus on the awareness of that framework. So pretty much from now until the end of December, it's all, don't get me wrong, it's not just going to solely be the framework, obviously, what we do outside of that, but content-based, we're really going to be deep diving into that framework. Like into each individual block, we're going to be having videos, blogs, more things that people can do, like outside of LinkedIn, like quizzes for themselves using like Kahoots. There's going to be newsletters weekly. There's just going to be a lot more content. And really, it's going to be for everybody because there's something in that framework for everyone. So it's just a matter of getting it all out there and having patience. But it's going to be a lot. It's fun. I mean, we started implementing it, so.
What's that structure look like? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
So Mondays typically, Monday will be, introducing, the whatever building block from whichever domain. Then Tuesdays will be a video. Wednesdays will either be some kind of blog or a Kahoot. Same thing with, Thursdays, vice versa, whichever one. And then Fridays will be like a newsletter. So it'll highlight everything that was released this week. So some people, if you miss things on social media, you'll at least get it in a newsletter for the week so that you can see it in your inbox and you can go view it whenever you'd like. So
everybody gets a kind of an introduction to the building block. They get a deeper dive through the blog. They get the ability to test their knowledge through a Kahoot, which I think is interesting.
Multiple formats so that people can consume it, because some people might not like to watch videos. They might like to read something. So I want to have content for, what everybody has in their likes. So
especially when I have a face for radio.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think we're really excited for what you have to come with ReliabilityX and what you're bringing to the table. For me personally, you being my daughter and working for the company, I couldn't be more proud of the work that you do. Everything that we hand to you, you knock out of the park. I get so many people from so many companies that come up to me and say, you guys are really doing a fantastic job, and that all sits on your shoulders. So I really appreciate the work that you do, and thank you so much for being a guest on CMMS Radio.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, for AJ, I'm George Williams. Go make tomorrow better than today.
Did you find this episode helpful? Please send us some feedback, suggest a topic, or ask a question. Reach out to CMMS Radio if you need a co-pilot on your CMMS project. Visit CMMSradio.com and use the What's on Your Mind link. Thank you for tuning in to CMMS Radio, your resource for all things CMMS from selection to implementation to help you make better choices, learn from industry experts, and have a successful CMMS journey.